The San Antonio Spurs championship window with Victor Wembanyama was supposed to get a massive boost this season. They landed the number 2 pick in the draft, snagged one of the most electric guards in college basketball, and had fans dreaming of playoff runs. But just days before training camp, that dream took a shocking turn that nobody saw coming. Dylan Harper, the son of NBA legend Ron Harper, is now facing the nightmare every rookie fears most. What started as a routine workout on Wednesday turned into a medical emergency that's got the entire basketball world questioning everything we thought we knew about this Spurs season. The injury looked innocent enough at first, but the deeper you dig, the more terrifying this situation becomes for both Harper and San Antonio's championship aspirations. Wednesday morning in San Antonio should have been just another day of preparation. Harper was putting in work, getting ready for what was supposed to be his breakout training camp with the Spurs. These weren't high-intensity scrimmages or contact drills. This was basic skill work, the kind of routine session that happens thousands of times across NBA facilities every single day. But somewhere during that seemingly harmless workout, disaster struck. Harper felt something pop in his left thumb, that sickening sensation every athlete knows means trouble. What makes this even more devastating is that it wasn't some freak collision or awkward fall. This was just Harper being Harper, working on his craft, when his body betrayed him at the worst possible moment. The immediate reaction from the Spurs medical staff was telling. They didn't treat this like a minor bump or bruise that could be managed with rest and ice. Within hours, Harper was being rushed to specialists for advanced imaging, and by Friday, he was going under the knife. That timeline tells you everything you need to know about how serious this really is. Here's what the Spurs aren't telling you about Harper's surgery. Yes, they announced he had a partial tear of the collateral ligament in his left thumb repaired, but what they're not explaining is just how complex and delicate this type of procedure really is when it involves a basketball player's shooting hand. This isn't your typical sports injury where you can just tough it out or play through the pain. The collateral ligament in the thumb is absolutely critical for ball handling, shooting mechanics, and defensive positioning. When that ligament is compromised, it affects everything from Harper's ability to grip the basketball to his shooting release point. Even after the surgery heals perfectly, there's no guarantee his shot will feel the same. The surgical procedure itself involves reconstructing the torn ligament using either Harper's own tissue or donor material. Recovery isn't just about the thumb healing. It's about retraining his entire shooting motion, rebuilding muscle memory, and hoping that months of rehabilitation don't fundamentally alter the natural shooting stroke that made him the number 2 pick in the first place. What makes this even more concerning is the timing. Harper is missing the most crucial development period of his rookie year. Training camp isn't just about getting in shape, it's where rookies learn NBA systems, build chemistry with teammates, and start understanding the speed and complexity of professional basketball. Every day Harper misses is a day his development falls behind. The confusion around Harper's return timeline is absolutely wild, and it reveals way more about this injury than the Spurs want you to know. Initially, reports suggested Harper would miss all of training camp and the start of the season, with a potential return around Halloween. That's a recovery period of roughly 8 to 10 weeks. But then conflicting reports started emerging. Some sources began hinting that Harper might be ready for the season opener against Dallas on October 22nd. Others doubled down on the Halloween timeline. This kind of uncertainty isn't normal for a routine thumb surgery, and it suggests the medical team isn't entirely sure how Harper's body will respond to the procedure. The reality is that thumb ligament injuries in basketball players are notoriously unpredictable. Some guys bounce back in 6 weeks and never miss a beat. Others struggle with lingering stiffness, reduced grip strength, and shooting inconsistencies for months or even years. The Spurs are clearly being cautious with their public statements because they genuinely don't know which category Harper will fall into. What's even more telling is how the organization has handled the media around this injury. Usually teams are pretty transparent about recovery timelines for minor procedures. The fact that there's so much ambiguity suggests the doctors are seeing something in Harper's case that's making them hesitant to commit to specific dates. Here's the part that should have Spurs fans absolutely terrified. This isn't Harper's first injury setback as a professional. Remember, he also missed the early part of NBA Summer League with a groin injury. That's 2 significant injuries before his rookie season has even officially started. The groin injury was initially downplayed as minor, just a precautionary absence to make sure Harper was fully healthy. But now, looking back, it feels like the beginning of a concerning pattern. Elite athletes don't typically suffer multiple unrelated injuries in such a short time frame unless there are underlying issues with conditioning, biomechanics, or pure bad luck. What makes this pattern even more worrisome is Harper's playing style. At Rutgers, he was known for his aggressive drives to the basket, his willingness to absorb contact, and his high-energy approach on both ends of the floor. That style of play requires a body that can handle constant physical stress, and right now, Harper's body is sending some pretty alarming signals. The medical staff will undoubtedly put Harper through extensive evaluations to make sure these injuries are truly unrelated. But in the back of everyone's mind has to be the question of whether the number 2 pick has the physical durability to handle the grind of an 82-game NBA season plus playoffs. While Harper recovers, the Spurs are actually in a pretty interesting position in their backcourt, but it's not without complications. De'Aaron Fox, fresh off signing a massive 4-year extension worth over $200 million, is locked in as the starting point guard. Alongside him, reigning Rookie of the Year Stephon has already proven he can contribute at the NBA level. On paper, that's a solid foundation. Fox brings veteran leadership, elite speed, and proven playoff experience. Castle offers the energy and defensive intensity that made him such an impressive rookie. But here's where things get complicated for head coach Popovich and his staff. The Spurs drafted Harper with the expectation that he'd be a key contributor from day one. His skill set was supposed to complement Fox and Castle perfectly, giving San Antonio multiple ball handlers and creating lineup flexibility that could be crucial in playoff matchups. Without Harper, the Spurs are suddenly thin at guard and forced to rely more heavily on their remaining players. This also puts tremendous pressure on Castle to take another leap in his second season. The young guard was already expected to build on his Rookie of the Year campaign, but now he might need to shoulder an even bigger load while Harper recovers. That's a lot to ask from a player who's still learning the nuances of NBA basketball himself. The depth chart behind Fox and Castle gets murky pretty quickly. The Spurs will need to rely on veteran minimum signings and potentially convert some two-way contracts just to have enough bodies at practice. That's not exactly the championship-level depth you want when you're trying to maximize Victor Wembanyama's early prime years.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The Spurs didn't draft Harper second overall to be a nice developmental piece for the future. They selected him because they believe their championship window with Wembanyama is opening right now, and they needed impact players who could contribute immediately. Wembanyama is entering his third season and has already established himself as one of the most dominant two-way forces in basketball. The French phenomenon is averaging ridiculous numbers on both ends of the floor, and he's showing the kind of leadership in basketball IQ that suggests he's ready to lead a championship contender. But championship windows in the NBA are fragile and unpredictable. You never know when injuries, free agency departures, or other unexpected developments might slam that window shut. Every season matters, and every key player matters. Harper was supposed to be a crucial piece of this puzzle, providing the dynamic guard play that championship teams need alongside elite big men. The Western Conference is absolutely loaded with talent right now. Teams like Denver, Phoenix, and the Lakers are all making win-now moves. The Oklahoma City Thunder are young and hungry with an incredible core. The Dallas Mavericks just made the finals. In this competitive environment, the Spurs can't afford to waste any opportunities or give away any advantages. Harper's injury doesn't just hurt the team's immediate prospects, it also disrupts the development timeline that the organization had mapped out. Chemistry between players takes time to build, especially when you're integrating a rookie into complex NBA systems. Every game Harper misses is a missed opportunity to build that chemistry and establish the foundation for future success. There's another layer to this story that makes Harper's situation even more compelling and pressure-packed. This isn't just any rookie dealing with an early career setback. This is Ron Harper's son, carrying the weight of a family legacy that includes 5 NBA championships and a reputation as one of the toughest, most reliable playoff performers in basketball history. Ron Harper was known for his durability and his ability to perform in clutch moments. He played through injuries, adapted his game as he aged, and became the kind of player that championship teams could count on when everything was on the line. Those are massive shoes to fill, and Dillon was already facing questions about whether he could live up to that standard even before this injury occurred. The psychological component of this setback cannot be understated. Young players, especially those with famous parents, often struggle with the pressure and expectations that come with their last name. Now Harper has to deal not only with recovering from surgery, but also with proving that he's not injury-prone or unable to handle the physical demands of professional basketball. There's also the matter of how this affects Harper's confidence and mindset going forward. Will he be tentative when he returns? Will he change his aggressive playing style to avoid future injuries? These are the kinds of mental hurdles that can derail promising careers if not handled properly by the player and the organization. The Spurs' medical and coaching staff will need to be incredibly careful about how they manage Harper's return. Rushing him back too quickly could lead to re-injury or compensation injuries in other parts of his body. but being too conservative could cost valuable development time and perpetuate concerns about his durability. As we look at this situation from every angle, one thing becomes crystal clear. Dylan Harper's thumb surgery is way more than just a minor medical procedure that will keep him out for a few weeks. This is a potential defining moment for both Harper's career and the Spurs' championship aspirations. For Harper personally, how he responds to this adversity will say a lot about his character and his long-term potential in the NBA. The best players in league history have all faced significant challenges early in their careers. The ones who become stars are the ones who use those setbacks as motivation and come back stronger than before. For the Spurs organization, this injury forces them to confront some uncomfortable questions about their roster construction and their timeline for contention. Can they still compete for a championship this season without their second-round pick? How will this affect their long-term planning and their ability to attract other high-level players? The answers to these questions won't be clear for months, maybe even years. But one thing is certain, the next few months will be absolutely crucial for everyone involved. Harper's recovery, the Spurs' early season performance, and how both parties handle this unexpected challenge will shape the trajectory of what could be a championship-caliber partnership. The most fascinating part of all this might be what it reveals about the unpredictable nature of professional sports. Just when you think you have everything figured out, when the pieces seem to be falling perfectly into place, something completely unexpected happens that changes everything. That's exactly what makes the NBA so compelling, and it's exactly what makes Dylan Harper's journey back to the court one of the most intriguing storylines to follow this season.